Good morning. This is 105.9 WMEX. Gary James here, and I have two guests in the studio. Keith McKenzie from the Rochester Police Department, and also he's a part-time deputy sheriff, and Deputy Sheriff Christian Kirkinson. And we say good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
We're here to talk about Daisy May, the Bloodhound. And this is a demonstration that I saw, Keith, when you came to a Rochester Rotary meeting.
Yes.
And I found it fascinating about what these dogs can do. So why don't you want to tell me the history of the Bloodhound, how they got involved in police work?
Sure. From what I've understood is that before Bloodhounds were not really widely used within law enforcement, at least had not been heard of, at least in Strafford County. And around 1975, a man named Cal Schroeder and his wife Penny Schroeder, they started training bloodhounds and were interested in the breed. And they trained a bloodhound for about 2 years with the National Bloodhound Association, or the National Police Bloodhound Association. And when they started training, shortly after that, they got sworn in as special deputies with the Strafford County Sheriff's Office back in 1975 with the by Sheriff Harold Knight. And from that point on, they were covering calls and helping out surrounding agencies, finding suspects or missing children, or anything of that nature.
Now, Keith, you've been working with Daisy May for, what, I think you told me 4 years?
Yeah, she's 4 years old, and before that I had one other dog that I trained for about 10 months.
Okay, so now you actually train these dogs?
Correct.
Okay. So how long does it take to train a dog if they're a puppy?
Training the dog is very easy. It's training the handler that takes the longest. Training dogs is just a big game for them, but I can usually have a dog up and going with an experienced handler in about 5 months, but with a new handler, probably about 8 to 10 months.
Now, do you train them locally?
Yes.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, right down in Portsmouth. We train at the New Hampshire Working Dog Foundation.
Okay, now,
Right.
I know you do missing people. And
Correct.
if you're looking for someone, you use a bloodhound.
Correct.
How many calls typically do you go on in a month, we'll say?
I can tell you in a year, last year we handled just over 100 calls for service.
Wow.
With the Bloodhound with Daisy. So, I mean, obviously the summer months were a lot more busy than we are in the winter.
Now, what's her success rate?
I mean, it's hard to gauge that just for the mere fact that sometimes if a suspect gets picked up in a car or something, the dog still achieved the goal and was successful, just we didn't find the end-all, be-all of the person. So, I mean, I'd say she's fairly successful.
Yeah. How far away can they track if you give you give the dog an article of clothing? I mean, how far away?
As long as the scent is there, they'll keep working. So, I mean, you can go miles and miles. We've been on plenty of several-mile-long tracks, no problem.
How long does the scent stay there for?
They've done studies. The FBI has done studies. It all depends on the area. Again, in the woods, they did a study where it was there a year later to the day, 365 days. But if you're talking a city track downtown or something like that, they'll be sent there a couple days later.
Right.
So it all depends on the conditions that it's in, the weather and everything.
Now, you're full-time in the Rochester Police Department.
Correct.
Do you have Daisy May with you all the time?
Correct, yeah. Every time I patrol, she's with me along with my other dog, Flirt.
And now tell me about your other dog.
She's a yellow lab. She's just a narcotics dog. So she's on 7 different types of odors. From marijuana, hashish, crack, cocaine, heroin, ecstasy, all the way up through anything that's illegal to possess.
Now, how does a dog learn this? I mean, do you use a reward system?
Yeah, all it is, it's a big game for him. So it's just like, I call it like Flirt works for a tennis ball, and I call that her PlayStation or her Xbox, like kids play their Xboxes and stuff. She gets all excited when she sees a tennis ball, just like kids do when they get a new Xbox game.
Okay.
So all you do is you just make it a game for the dog, and you anytime the dog finds the odor, what they're looking for, you give them a tennis ball, and you have a big party with them and praise them up, and that's all it is. It's all positive reinforcement.
Okay, so that's their reward.
That's their reward. Tennis ball and love from us, from the handlers.
Wow. Yeah, I imagine you must get close to the dogs.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times. I mean, I worked Fina for 10 years before I got Flirt and Daisy. So I worked the Shepherd. I mean, and she's still at home, retired. But to say that the dogs have probably saved my tail a couple times is been confirmed and pretty legit. So
no kidding, yeah.
So I mean, I spend more time with the dogs. Any canine handler spends more time with their dogs than they do with their family.
Wow.
So that's why you make sure you love them.
Well, dogs are people too.
Oh, absolutely.
They have personalities. Said dogs go to heaven. They said that last month.
They have personalities, absolutely.
Yeah. So what's the typical, what do I want to call it, career of these dogs? How long do they work?
I mean, a bloodhound, if you get 8 years out of it. That's a good career, a lengthy career. I worked my shepherd 10 years. Fina was going on 11 when we retired her. You just keep an eye on the dog. They'll always be able to do their job, but as the responsible adult and the human in the relationship, you need to look at the dog and make sure that from the brain back that they're capable of doing the job. If they, their hips or their condition,
shepherds especially, right?
Right, hip dysplasia, anything like that. So you just monitor them, and typically you get 10, 11, 12 years out of a shepherd.
So they spend all your working time with you. They live at your home.
Live right with us, with the family, part of the family.
Yeah, and do they act like a regular dog?
Absolutely.
When they're around the family?
Yeah, they know. We don't do any training with a dog at their home. Absolutely nothing. That's their downtime. That's their timeout place.
Right.
My children will play with the dogs, or we'll take them for family walks. It's just a family pet, so they're normal at home.
Not on duty.
Not on duty.
No.
But as soon as the phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning, Daisy starts howling, and the house wakes up, and she knows she's going to work.
Yeah.
So they know the game. They learn the routine. So
that's fascinating how
Yeah.
dogs can do that. Now, Christian, tell me how you got involved in this. How did you get interested in this?
Well, even when I first started as a patrolman for the town that I worked for, which was about 14 years ago, I wanted to be a canine handler, but the town I worked for didn't have the call volume and or the budget to support it. So it's always been there that I wanted to try to do something like that. And 14 years later, there was a posting up at the sheriff's office for a job opening, which had the responsibilities of working as a bloodhound handler. And I put in for it, went through the hiring process, and I came out as the top selected person for it. I received the position, I was offered it, and I accepted it right then and there. And I kind of lit another fire, or renewed the fire of this profession, because it's something I wanted to do when I was a young patrolman, and now I'm getting that chance. And I'm really looking forward to it. When I see Keith and some of the other handlers working with their dogs, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, because at some point you're going to have dogs too.
Yes, I've had dogs before, but not working dogs. So I'm really trying to do what I can to learn. I've been training with the Working Dog Foundation for the past 7 months, going out there, setting tracks for the hounds, laying in snowbanks, hanging in trees.
Explain to me what the Working Dog Foundation is.
Well, Keith would probably be better to answer that, because he's been a member and is actually one of the instructors for the Working Dog Foundation.
Yeah, basically back in '96, I believe it was '96, then Lou Furland out of Portsmouth PD, he'd gotten a canine and needed a local place to train, so he started the foundation. It's a nonprofit. It's set up with board members and stuff that oversee it, like civilians who oversee it, and they interact with the police officers, and it's just a nonprofit training, part-time training academy. We thrive on people training their own dogs. That's a huge thing down there. So you come down on Tuesday, we give you a list of things to work on for the week. You come back, and the instructors look and make sure that you've achieved the goals for that week. And we think you're ready. We'll give you another task to work on for a week. And that way there you build a bond with the dog and everything. I mean, paying somebody for a fully trained dog, you're not really building a bond with it.
No.
So, this way here, you take the dog to work with you every day, even if you're not certified or whatever, and you come down on Tuesdays, and we'll give you a task to do and make it a big, the dogs love it because it's like a play group for them. Yeah. They play, and they have a good time, and eventually you get you certified, and you get out on the road and start handling calls.
And these dogs are all taught by the reward system, right?
Exactly.
They don't get smacked.
No, there's no impulse training whatsoever. Absolutely none. We have no problem. We've done it before. Put your dog away if you're a little heavy-handed with it. We're talking patrol dogs where it's high drive. They do the apprehension work and stuff like that, where the dogs are high drive. And just like a kid, if you tell the kid who's excited not to do something and they continue to do it just because they're excited, dogs work the same way as that. So we don't have any impulse training whatsoever, none whatsoever. It's all reward based, and the dog always wins before it goes home at the end of the day. So.
I've often wondered what the intelligence level of a dog is. I imagine it depends on the breed. Am I right?
Yeah, it depends on the breed and depends on the intelligence level of the handler too. How much intelligence does it take to trick you?
Good point. Yeah.
So that's the other thing. So, but we have a good time. It's like I said, it's very enjoyable. I just started my 11th year doing it and wouldn't do anything else.
So now you're a full-time member of the Rochester Police Department, which means obviously you can go anywhere in Rochester.
Correct.
But being a deputy sheriff, does that allow you to go anywhere in the state with the dog?
I'll go anywhere in the state, or I'll even go out of state, wherever.
You will?
Yeah, wherever they set up the MOUs or the mutual aid agreements and stuff. I've been up to northern Maine, up as far as St. Francis this past summer, and I've been as far as south as Pennsylvania.
No kidding.
So we go around.
Okay, so you've made a name for yourself, you and Daisy May. Huh?
Yeah, Daisy has.
Yeah.
You know, we call the handlers once a dog's certified, we call them the boat anchors. All they do is just follow the dog. You know, once they learn their game and their task and stuff. I mean, there is a lot of science to it, especially to working a bloodhound and stuff, and skin rafts and air current and moisture and all that. It's all stuff they need to learn before you can start working a dog.
And the dog learns all this.
And the dog knows. The dog knows what's going on. So
that's amazing. How a dog. I mean, I know that their sense of smell is heightened, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
But I had no idea they were that intelligent.
Yep. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. When you talk about a dog's sense of smell, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And especially the bloodhound for tracking down a human being, right?
Correct. Yeah, the bloodhound has the best sense of smell than any breed of dog. So you take like a German Shepherd, who they give it a number of 150,000 times stronger than the humans or whatever. You take a bloodhound, who's another 75,000 stronger than that. I mean,
wow.
They have a larger receptacle in their brain that processes odor. I mean,
how about their eyes? How about their eyesight?
Eyesight depends on different bloodhounds are actually different, because sometimes they actually have a sac underneath their eyes, so you see a lot of bloodhounds with droopy eyes and stuff.
Yep.
That actually helps them with their job, believe it or not, because it catches skin rafts and they're able to process those. Eventually, make their way to their noses.
Okay.
So if you see a wrinkly dog and the bloodhound's ears, when they hit the ground, they act like little brooms because they distract the skin rafts, which then agitate the bacteria, which makes the odor more potent to the dog. So, I mean, without boring your listeners and stuff, there's a whole science behind it with the wrinkles and the drool and the ears and everything that actually help them do their job. But any canine's eyesight, they see better at night because they have an extra lens inside their eye. And Daisy has proven that to me as she goes around trees and I go try to walk right into them.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, I can't see what's going on, but she can get around. But it's just because they have an extra lens inside which reflects the light. So they actually have kind of like a night vision. That's why you see like a deer or a cat, when your headlights hit them, they lighten right up. It's just because they have that extra lens in their eyes, which reflects the light one more time than in a human's eyes.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you see those before you see anything else, because that's what attracts the light.
Now, Daisy May is working for food, right?
All bloodhounds that we train. Yeah, but it's real food. It's not kibble. It's table scrap. So my wife makes steak tips on a Monday night. I'll grab some, put it aside, and take it down training with me on Tuesdays.
I see.
Or we'll go to the deli and get some turkey ends or something like that. Something that the dog can't get only when it's training.
Wow.
So.
Pretty interesting stuff, I'll tell you.
Yeah, this is what I've been learning for the past several
Christian,
months.
I can see why you want to do this.
Several months. He's a bunch of knowledge in this man's head that you got to try to extract.
That's obvious, yeah.
Yes, he's. If I remember correctly, you've been deemed an expert.
Over
court.
Strafford County.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's been deemed an expert by the courts to testify on about the canines.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
But it's many years of reading books and working with people like Cal Schroeder and John Usher. I mean, they pass everything down along to me, and there's just a rich history of the program and everything, and some of the high-profile cases that they've been involved in. And
did one of them start this? Did I hear that before?
Yeah, Cal Schroeder started back in the 70s, and then he trained John Usher, who was a Dover officer for 20-something years, who worked dogs over there.
Yeah.
And then he did the same thing I do. He worked 2 dogs at that time, so he did the same thing, covered all the calls in the county. And then, worked in Dover full time. And then he got me into it and taught me everything I know, and now here I am.
Now, is it pretty common for police departments to have dogs?
It's getting to be a lot more common, believe it or not, just because at one time there were a bunch of grants out there and stuff. And that's the other thing that the Working Dog Foundation does, is they give grants to smaller departments to go out and purchase these. I mean, a canine now, a green canine from Germany, you're looking anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000.
Yeah, I figured it was up there.
So I mean, it's pricey for small departments, and that's what the Working Dog Foundation does. Is they get the money and they donate the money to the agencies to get the dogs.
Do they rely on donations? Is that
Absolutely,
how it works?
absolutely, Yep. And we do the big events every year down there to like open house, and we're doing demonstrations here and there, so people come and donate to the dogs. And again, all of our dogs are socialized, so with the handler's approval, people come up and pet the dogs, and like Daisy will roll around with a 3-year-old, no problem on the ground, and then I tell her to go track somebody, she will. And so I mean, it's just all the dogs are socialized.
Now these aren't attack dogs or anything, right?
Some of them are.
Are they? Yeah.
Yep, some of them are. The apprehension dogs. Yep. But they're not what we call junkyard dogs. They're dogs that are able to, you turn them on and off like a light.
Really?
We give them a command, and then they can, they'll go apprehend somebody, and then
Yeah.
30 seconds later, like I said, a little kid can come up and hop on it, start riding it like a pony. And it just
Wow.
But they're not fear biters or junkyard
Dogs are amazing.
Yep.
They really are.
So it's all a lot of time goes into them, and it's a lot of money for the departments and stuff as well. But I mean,
But it pays off, doesn't it?
Find one lost child, it's paid for itself already,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Or one Alzheimer's patient, or one criminal.
Yeah, criminal. Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So you put time into it, and you reap the rewards at the end.
Very good.
But,
well, thank you so much for stopping by. I've certainly enjoyed talking about the bloodhounds and then the apprehension dogs and the drug dogs and all that stuff. It's great to know that stuff is going on. We've been talking with Keith McKenzie. He's from the Rochester Police Department. He's also a part-time deputy sheriff, and also Christian Kirkinson, who is a deputy sheriff. Mm-hmm. Very good. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming by.
No, thank you.